اليوم الثاني لدورة القيادة العالمية التي من خلالها سنناقش واحدة من أبرز المواضيع الأهمية، شاكرين كل الحضور الكريم على الوقت الذي أرادوا قضائه برفقتنا اليوم. نرحب اليوم بالأستاذ والدكتور محمود صبحان الذي قام بتدريس القيادة مع معلمه البروفيسور كواستلبوم على مدار 20 عاما الماضية في الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية، في جامعة كاليفورنيا في بيركلي، وجامعة واشنطن وشيكاغو، وفي أوروبا بروسايلز وفريسايل وليل والمملكة المتحدة وأفريقيا، ونود أن نشكره على تواجده معنا اليوم. Well, I don't want to take too much of your time. I need to leave some time for Dr. Saluha to introduce himself to all of you. Thank you, Doctor. You can start now.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. أما بعد. السلام عليكم to you all. I'm really happy to be here. I don't know who's the most excited, me or you, the participant, but definitely, you know, here, then let's not be shy from our culture and tradition. You know, as I share with you, you know, I'm Muslim, and in our Islamic tradition is that the one who gave you the opportunity to do good is the one to be thanked, okay? So I would like to, I'm really grateful and thankful to everyone Smart University for creating this opportunity to allow me to really share my passion, that is leadership teaching, and also my what Allah has blessed me with. Okay, so I have asked for this document to be shared with you. I don't know if it was done successfully. So can you guys maybe take a look at the document? So last week, what we did last week, was that we introduced the concept of leadership. And I wanted to get you familiar with a different leadership approach. And this is from my, I would say, 30 years life in the Western hemisphere, meaning in Europe, as well as in North America, and for my over 22 years of intensive studies of leadership and questioning. So I want this to be really useful and more as conceptual and practical to all of you. So there is the document that is displayed here. I don't know how you guys can manage to get a copy, and I think we need to get organized so that you have a real copy, okay? So with this said, I want you all to, okay, you can send me the link, you can send me the link, Okay, so what I would like you to do is to start by mapping your life, okay? Because, you know, you have the good taste of this program if you can apply it to your own, okay. Okay, so, you know, she said she can send it to everyone. Okay, let me, you know, let's take some time here and let me see if it's possible to do it, because my computer have been acting in a strange way. Let's say, give me 1 second here, because I really want everyone to have the copy of this document, okay? So bear with me here. Actually, the class started an hour earlier. Okay, let me do this. Be patient. Okay. Okay. So, Selma, I don't know if, Selma, I just sent you the document on WhatsApp. I don't know if you have received it.
Yes, I see. Okay, just okay, let me see the file.
I sent you the file on WhatsApp.
Okay, doctor, I will see.
Okay. So while we are trying to figure out how to share this document with you, let me show you how it works. So what I would like you to do is to start by mapping your life. We are going to look at your life from since you can remember, I would say, until today, and then we will pick up few points in your life, and then from there on, you can start applying. I will tell you what to do next. So basically, if you are 10 years old, you will put a cross here. If you are 11 years old, you put one cross here, or you check this box. If you are 12, 13, if you are 20, you check this box. If you are 21 or 20 something, or until 30, this box. So is that okay with everyone? Is that okay? Is it clear? Is it clear? Okay, very good. So I give you 5 minutes to check. I give you 3 minutes actually to check the box that correspond to your life. Okay. Okay. So what I would like you to do now is to pick up 2 or 3 years during this time of your life that have special importance for you. Okay. I want you to highlight 2 or 3 years that are of special importance for you. and you can put this on the side note for your own, for your, 2 or 3 years of special importance to you. So I put the question on the chat box. Excellent, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so now that you have a document with you and keep it to yourself, I would say pick up, those areas of your life, which years was special importance for you. It could be anything. It could be, this is the year where I signed my first contract. This is the year where I got married, or where I have my first child, or what have you. Where I found a job, or I graduated from high school, or I discover something, and so on. So I want this to be, a good, or it could be a bad area, or a bad souvenir as well, meaning that this is the day that I lost my parent, for example. If you ask me personally, I can give you some example. For example, the year my mother, Allah yarhamuha, passed away was a very, very tough one for me, right? So basically it could be anything, okay? So now that you have chosen 2 or 3 or even 1, right? And then you have written why, okay? So what I would like to do here, now I'm going to take over, okay? Do you want to continue? Yeah, I want to take over sharing the screen, okay? Excellent, okay. Can you guys see my screen? Okay. So where's my chat box? No. Okay, can everybody see my screen here? Excellent. Okay. So now, last week, we introduced the concept of leadership, right? We talk about leadership in general. We, maybe if we can go over what was your takeaway? Who want to volunteer to share with us what do they remember from last week's session? Anyone to volunteer? Hello? Anyone to volunteer to remind us what we talked about last week? Hello? Yes, yes, please go ahead. Somebody raise hands. Can you allow them to speak? Somebody has raised a hand. Can you, yeah, okay, can you allow them to speak?
Hello.
Yes, please, go ahead.
Hello, Dr. Salaha. How are you?
I am doing great, alhamdulillah. How about yourself?
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
Okay.
This is Dina.
Dina, Naam, what do you remember from last week?
I remember many things, many beautiful things.
Okay.
Like attitudes. We talk about much about attitudes, and
Okay.
we talk about influence,
Okay.
about control also.
Okay.
And you stated a very nice statement here.
Mm-hmm.
I remember it very well.
Okay, very good.
I think it was content before you contact, okay?
Yes. Very good, very good. Okay.
These are the words I remember from your last session.
MashaAllah, thank you very much. I like that. Or somebody else want to tell us what he or she remember from last session? Anyone else? Don't be shy, okay? Okay, so anyway, so what we last week we also talk about the difference between leadership and management, okay? And we talk about you know, the different definition of leadership, okay? So here, one of the key focus that I told you was that we are going to migrate from this conceptual leadership, okay? Because here, what we will talk about is really developing your own leadership, okay? So let me just pull some slide here that I found relevant, you know, for, you know, based on our session, okay? And that will be a continuation that will allow us to, you know, to continue our session of today. It could serve as a transition to our today's session, okay? So basically, before we go, I said, you know, if you recall, I share with you this chart, okay? That is, you know, as individual, you know, today we can talk about good leader, bad leader, effective leader, or what have you. As an individual, the real question is, what is my purpose in life, right? Because, you know, the question that comes over and over again, I get this question pretty much every time. Are we born leader or do we become leader, right? Then I will turn the question back and ask, do you think you are a leader, right? So in the act of leadership, you will see that there are some attributes that are associated with that. Why? Because the definition of leadership is that a leader is someone who is able to mobilize a group of individuals toward certain objectives or goals. and the leader have the attribute. One of the attributes of a leader is that the leader have a shared vision. A leader is a visionary, is someone who can see beyond the obvious, right? So basically, in this leadership act, right? It's not a name or a title that you are given. I'm a leader. No, right? You get judged based on the different act that you pose, and you will see that leader will always make a choice. In that sense, you know, a good leader will be the one that will be accountable for his or her choices. And now you can see the distinction between good and bad leader. A good leader will be accountable with the outcome of their choices, good or bad. A bad leader will try to find excuse or try to find someone to blame, right? But for this to happen, you have to connect with your authentic self. Why? Because the manager is there to control. The manager's role is to control and make sure everything is working as it has been described. Whereas the leader is here to basically get people each member of the team to contribute, right? Which means, you know, as a leader, you know, what I want is to, you know, be free, have my freedom. And this freedom, you know, has been damaged. And that's why many of us are not capable, you know, lack self-confidence. And if you are a leader, you know, one of the things that the followers are looking is that they are looking for your confidence, right? They want to be able to trust you, trust in all sense, meaning that they want to trust that you are competent. They want to trust that you will be there for them. They want to trust you that if things go bad, you will be there to mentor, to coach, and help them grow, right? So here, what happened to many of us is that we went through education system, which is normal because the culture is there to make sure that there's a continuation of our tradition, okay? So once you say this, when we start going to school, being part of a community, being part of a family, being part of a group, right? Then, you know, our joys, you know, we will see that this area of freedom has shrunk extensively, meaning that we have only duties, and our rights, in somehow we feel that our rights are being violated, okay? As a, you know, am I a parent? Am I children? Am I leader of an organization, etc., etc.? We all have the feeling that somehow, you know, people do not understand. We are not free. We want to be free, right? But this freedom, finally, you know, cannot be searched outside. It's inside because we have this capacity. And you know, for that to happen, we need what I call philosophical alliance, meaning that you cannot, it's not something that you can manage it intellectually. It comes from within, right? And what is from within needs some philosophical grounding. And philosophical grounding could be your tradition, could be your religion, could be your culture, etc., etc. But you need to have your root somewhere in order to, why? Because, you know, what we want from you is your authentic self. So far, you have been told, be nice, say hello, do this, etc., to fit in. But now you start seeing things. If you recall, you start seeing things, and you are saying this contract that I signed with you to be part or to be member of this community is no longer working for me, right? Why? Because nature is in constant evolution, right? You know, back in the days, we travel by foot, by horse, or by camel, right? But today, things are different. You travel by car, by bicycle, by motorcycle, by plane, okay? So back in the days, you will fetch for your food every day. But today things have changed. You know, we are king, right? Because if you come to my refrigerator, I have a supply of food for 1 week. But if you look early in the days, you know, in the last or in the past centuries, only king can have that, right? So things have changed and things are evolving, okay? So basically, to break that and to really be at ease and consistent with you, you need some foundation, okay? So that's why we talk about your philosophical alliance, right? Why? Because even the psychotherapist that we go to, you know, according to Rolome, right? That, you know, enlarging this area of freedom is one of the goals, right? Why? Because I really want to, you know, if you don't do that, if you do not enlarge that, guess what? We will bury you. And that's why you will find some people at age 25, 30, they are dead. They have lost the taste of being joyful, right? And there's nothing that explains that, okay? So let's look at some general observation. Okay, these are just general observation about us. And then I will give, you know, then I will talk about some theory that will help us really deal with all those observations that we all agree with. Now, let me give you this example. Imagine I tell you, let's meet. Your next question will be, where? And if I answer anywhere, then you will ask me, when do you want to meet, right? And then I will say, anytime. Then the next question is, what do you want to talk about? I don't know, right? Guess what? My question to you is, do you think we are going to meet? And when do you think we will meet? There will be no meeting, right? So in life, you know, we operate actually as general contractor, right? Why? Because things are not clear in our mind, okay? And bear with me, you know, I know where I'm taking you, right? You know, as I told you, the rules here is that you take all your misconception or knowledge, put it on the side and enjoy the ride with me, okay? So most of the time, we will attempt to do everything. But in reality, when you look at the end of the day, we have accomplished nothing. I'm busy. I will ask my staff member, are you busy doing work or doing work, or are you busy doing busy work, right? So the majority of people are living that way, right? They have no appointment with life and no time to accomplish their destiny, right? So basically, we will be constructing everything, but we are not building anything. Okay? So that's why once you start saying, I would like to embody the who I am, the me, the mango doesn't ask the question, what am I going to do? Have you ever seen the mango trees trying to give you a pineapple or, trying to give you a cherry or what have you? No, mango says, if you come to me, you will always get mangoes. And in business, we have the example of apples, right? When you go to Apple store, they are very strict in that, saying that, okay, well, here we sell iPhone, we sell iPad, MacBook Pro, but we do not sell Android. If you want Android, go somewhere else, right? Because we are focused. And you will see that most people or companies that are really focused in what they are doing in fulfilling their purpose, they are successful. As a matter of fact, I have a good friend of mine, he's the former vice president of Manpower Group. He was sharing with me, he said he has a friend who is a venture capitalist, a very successful venture capitalist in New York. And he said, can you tell me, he asked his friend, can you tell me what is your secret? Because you keep making money and investing in companies that succeed. He said, well, in my early days as a venture capitalist, I have lost a lot of money. But then I realized that the small companies that I were making money out of have the same pattern, meaning that the project, the CEO of those companies have the same pattern. They are always looking for investment to improve their product. He said, ever since I started investing, when somebody come and give their pitch, I will be analyzing the guys and see why is he looking for my investment money. And, usually they will be focusing on, if we have $1 million, we will improve the product and it will be this, deliver this feature to our clients, etc. Okay. So here, basically, we need to start narrowing our focus. Okay. Now, this requires from us to move away from a land, we migrate from the land called mediocrity to a land called success. What is the land called mediocrity? I call it a land that has border, and this border of the north is, is bounded by what we call compromise. I'm always compromising, trying to make sure that, this and always find excuses. And by the south, the land is bounded by indecision. And you will see that among the attributes of a good leader, they are decisive people, right? And then on the east, by past thinking, well, back in the days, it used to be like this, etc., etc. And then by the way, bounded in the west by lack of vision. Where are you going? What is your purpose? What is your mission? What is your objective? What is your target? Etc., etc. Okay. So here I will say, if we take this quotation from one of our great teacher, right? Nobody have question about his wisdom. Hassan al-Basri, may Allah be pleased with him, he said, Stay away from the busy aspect of life, and surely life has abundant busy aspect. Every man who indulges in an aspect of life that fills his time, then the door he opened will open 10 more doors of busy aspect for him, right? So basically, you know, how often do you take a quiet time in a day, right? You know, when you allow things to settle down, you do the inventory, how was my day, etc., right? Because again, the result is that we are agitated, right? And then at the end, you know, we are exhausted without accomplishing anything, okay? Now, case in point, my oldest son is 25 years old now, right? He was full of energy. You know, I recall. Please, can you mute yourself, please? Okay. So when my oldest son was young at 5 years old, you know, well, believe me, in France, you know, usually in the evening you will see, you know, in the evening people will be going around with their dog, right? And me, I will be going out with my oldest son, you know, who was 4 years old, just going in the evening because my wife was so exhausted, right? She's like, you know, go and have him walk around the block and get him tired so that he can sleep, right? Now, when you take him to the rocking horse, right? You know, on the playground, I will just put my son on this rocking horse and he will keep going like this for an hour. When you come back, he's sweating like you will not believe it. But guess what? He was busy, right? We all agree that he was busy, he was exhausted, but you know, he has not moved from 1 meter, right? So in life, that's how we operate. You know, we keep ourselves busy doing A, B, C, D. I'm always busy. I don't have time, etc., right? But then in the end, what have you accomplished? What are you building? Well, I don't know. Maybe we start speculating, right? Because this is due to our lack of focus, okay? So now, the next observation is something that, you know, I have experienced firsthand. As I told you, you know, if you live as a migrant, you know, for those of you who have experienced migrating somewhere, you will experience discrimination, okay? And I used to design a cultural diversity course for large corporations. You know, I made it my business to help people understand diversity in a different way, not from intellectual viewpoint. So here, you will find out many people, especially in Africans living in Europe or Muslim living in the Western Hemisphere. You know, I've met many of them that will be hiding behind their color. Oh, you know, it's because I'm Muslim. Well, it is because I'm Black. Is it because I'm Arab? Is it because I'm white? Etc., right? So if you look at this, you know, quotation from Martin Luther King, you know, his dream will be, you know, one day will come where his children will not be judged by the color of their skin. And I would like to say here one thing is that, you know, the real issue is not the color of your skin, right? Once you start going into leadership, into really focusing on your purpose in life. Last week, we touched a little bit on one of the concepts that we share with our Christian brothers, right? This is the conversation between Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when Allah asked him, وَمَا تِلْكَ بِيَمِينِكَ يَا Musa, right? So, you know, and in the Bible, you know, Exodus 4, you know, where the same conversation has been transcribed, right? You know, when it says, when the Lord asked Moses, what do you have in your hand? He said, this is my shaft. And Sayyidina Musa again, explanation, I lean on it, I protect myself, I control my flocks, etc., etc. But Allah wanted to show him, you know, miracle, you know, that your vision is not sufficient. And this goes beyond what you see. So basically, what you want to accomplish is greater than what you can think. You know, these are facts, right? And we as Muslims, we understand that. We should believe that. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also give us the, you know, the dalil in Surah At-Tin, when Allah says, لَقَدْ أَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ التَّقْوِيمِ. We have created mankind in the best, right? Because now I will start doubting. You know, I'm not confused. I'm Muslim, and really I'm a believer, okay? And I believe that, you know, I'm convinced that this is not a random accident, right? There is, you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is behind all of this. So now, my creator said that you have been created in the best of your, of the form, right? Basically, you are perfect, right? Even though perfection belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? And then Allah says, in the same token, we have given you the possibility to be the worst of the worst. But you see, now the nuance come here, because when we talk about freedom, you know, here we will talk about free will, because we have a choice. وَهَدَيْنَاهُ النَّجْدَيْنِ, right? So it gives you this possibility of choosing to be good or to be bad, you know, good and evil, right? We'll talk about polarity later in the next session. How do you manage the polarity? Okay, so here, basically, when somebody thinks that because my name is Mahamouda Saluhu from Africa, then I'm bound to be ugly, and I'm bound to be worse, to be mediocre, and all of that. I look at them and say, that is your perception, because you fail to see the beauty in me. You know, I had a class here in some leaders, you know, community, company leader, and say, I have a homework, and I'm going to give you the same homework, okay? Are you guys ready for my homework? Hello, are you guys ready for my homework? I want to see a lot of yes. Okay. So, if you are a female, marry. If you are a male, marry. If you are a female, not unmarried, living with your parents, and you are male, unmarried, living with your parents, the same apply to you, okay? So I told some of them were African brother, I said, okay, once you go home tonight, go in the bathroom and then stand in front of the mirror. We all have pretty much mirrors in the bathroom, and call your spouse, husband or wife, right? Call their name, scream their name, like if something, important is happening. And once they come in, you look at the mirror and say, I want to congratulate you for your taste of choosing me as a husband or as a wife, because I'm the beauty manifested, right? And look at their reaction, and then please send me your comment on what happened, okay? So here, basically, as a human being, I want to be accepted. I want to be included. I want to feel that I'm respected, right? For that, I would say 90% or 99.99% depend on me, how I carry myself. If I hide behind excuses, let's see what those excuses lead us into, right? So here, I'm Black, I'm red, I'm this and that, right? Your pigmentation is not the problem. Most people suffer from the problem of just being general. Life challenge: are you Black? Are you white? Are you gray? Are you rich? Are you poor, etc.? Trust me, when life challenge come, those challenges do not care about who you are. I swear, wallahi, if you check, if you are parents, your concern are about safety and security of your children. If you are a husband, you worry about the security of your family. If you are a child, you worry about the well-being of your aging parents, right? If you have a job, your concern is, well, will my manager treat me well, and etc., etc. So here, the color, the problem that we face is not the color of our skin. Why? And the reason why we can feel that way is because we try to be beige or gray. Remember my boundary, right? Lack of decision, indecision, compromise, etc., etc. I don't want to hurt your feeling. I don't want people to think of me this way, etc., etc., right? And the reason why we are in those, because in those situations that are painful, because those anxiety are things that we carry and live it personally, and it's really painful and it hurts, right? Because you are on your own. Nobody could do anything for you. Basically, you are distorting your inner chemistry, okay? So indecision is maybe no, but, etc., 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 okay? So here, we are going to migrate from this land called land of balance, motivated by indecisiveness, okay? So here, we want to be balanced as a ship, okay? So, the ship has to keep certain balance on the water, on the sea, but going to certain objective. Okay. I see that there is a question, but it is in Arabic. Is it possible to translate for me, please? Can somebody translate? Hello, can somebody translate the question for me? Oh, can I know the way? Actually, inshallah, we will talk about this at the end of the session. It's called Leadership Diamond Certificate, Practitioner Certificate, okay? So we can talk about this later, okay? I believe Salma, can you get closer to Salma, okay? She will be, she's coordinating everything with me, okay? It's a Leadership Diamond Certificate. Yeah, go ahead. Hello?
Okay, doctor. You can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, doctor. I will see the certificate, inshallah.
Okay, inshallah. Okay, inshallah. I will, we can talk about this after the course. It's called
Yes.
a Leadership Diamond Certificate that we offer at ECLE, okay? So balance means what? Keeping the equilibrium while you are going toward a destination, a goal that you that you have in mind. Okay, so now you do not keep balance just being average or being general with all the being indecisive, compromising, and so on and so forth, right? So you keep balance while focusing, okay? So in many cases, you will see that in our culture, and I mean Latin, Mediterranean culture, is that we talk a lot and we commit a lot. And this is motivated by the fact that sometimes, I will be shy away from saying no to someone. Therefore, I will say yes, and I will overcommit. And then, in the end, nothing is being done, right? So here, mashallah, what is the translation? My Arabic is not good. So inshallah, my next seminar will be either in Egypt or in Saudi Arabia or UAE, so that it will force me to work on my Arabic. Can somebody translate for me?
What the best way? What the best way to teach English fluently?
And being professional.
Yes, to be professional in English and know the content of the language.
I will say it depends on you. When I moved to America in '99, my English was a scholastic English only. And I moved there as a visiting scholar at university. So what I used to do is that during the weekend, I will keep watching only cartoons, okay? I will watch cartoons all the time, right? So that's why, that was my secret. But I would say, today you have movies and programs that are in English, and also find yourself a conversation partners with English. And most importantly is that keep in mind that you are capable, you are capable to speak English. Don't be shy, try it and allow yourself to do mistakes, okay? So now, with all this said, coming back is that belief is not belief is not by wishful thinking, but by what's settled in the heart and what the actions prove, right? Remember here, people will be looking at what you have accomplished, what you have done, right? And that's how, you know, people, you will start being the role models of people, right? So for that, you need what we call sense of purpose, okay? Now, once you understand all of this, right? Now time has come for you to start going inside yourself and migrating from your leadership 1.0, right? We go with the assumption that everybody is a leader, meaning that even the little child is a leader, okay? So what I would like you to do is I want you to go over all this, you know, I give you 3 minutes to go over all this theme and tell me which one is more appropriate, is more relevant, and is speaking to you the best, okay? 3 minutes, okay? Okay, I see somebody asked question. What is the question?
Is there is group for student or not?
Say it again.
If there is group for student or not?
Is there a group for student? What do you mean by group for student?
I don't think so. I can't understand what you mean, Sana. Can you explain, please?
Don't be shy.
Yes, Sana, you can explain? No, we were not able to create group for student, but inshallah for the next session, the class will be per, per program, and there will be group and we can go further, okay? Thank you. Doctor, inshallah, you can continue.
Okay, inshallah. So anyone to tell me which one is more relevant to him or her? So, you know, basically, I will say, when you look at things, what we, you know, okay, is if there's a group for student, I want to join. Okay, so we can address this question later. Okay, so now when you look at leadership up until today, remember what I told you. Okay, go ahead, please. Go ahead. Tell me. Okay, somebody raise hands. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, Dini, can I speak?
Hello?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yes, yes, Dr. Saloha. Concerning my character, I can see me in the human values, personality change, and attitude mindset level.
Okay.
3 things.
Yeah, okay. Human value, personality change, and attitude, mindset level. Very good, very good, very good, very good. Excellent. Okay. Very good. Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome.
Walaikum salam. Okay. Well, you see, here, some people, let me take the example of the sales representative, okay? Back in the days, you know, if you are a sales representative, you know, you get paid for the money that you are making. MashaAllah, we need the link for certificate registration. Inshallah, I will create that, okay? You see, how many people do you know around you? That's the real question to ask, right? How many people around you do you know who are wealthy? Because they have money, right? But they are miserable, okay? Now, let me give you a personal example. In the early 2000s, when I was studying with Professor Peter Kastenbaum, okay? He was training me, you know, I was writing in this deep leadership, right? Remember, my encounter with Peter Kastenbaum was Qaddarullah, right? Because I was destroyed inside. Can I be successful and keep my faith and still be a good Muslim? Can I be, is it okay to be a good Muslim while living in the West? All those kind of questions. And subhanallah, I came to him, and every time he was a leader. You know, Peter, when you invite Peter Kastenbaum to a seminar, to run a seminar, you know, you spend $50,000 a day. I told you last week, when him and I designed a seminar in Versailles, leadership seminar, 1 week is $12,500 for 1 week, and people will come. So I was asking him, you know, Peter, you know, I'm confused. I will come with all those tough questions, and he will always guide my mind so that I will discover the answer. I'm like, wow, this was obvious. You know, how many people do you know around you that are wealthy? They have everything, but they are unhappy, right? So basically, if you look at a okay, inshallah. So if you look at a child, 4 years old, will choose to play with baby doll or a car or what have you. They make choice, and leader also make choices, okay? Now, in reality, they have the leadership attribute. But in real life, some of these choices have greater consequences. And we all have evolved in different stages of our life. You know, if you have $1, you can either have ice cream or chocolate, hot chocolate. But you cannot have both, right? You make those choices. And you are like, yes, I prefer ice cream. I prefer hot chocolate, right? In life, you decide, I'm going to choose this job or what have you. So as we move forward in our life, the me that is inside is the same. But this me keep borrowing different body. you know, the baby boy, the baby bodies, the adolescent, teenage bodies, etc., etc., etc. Okay. So with this said, unless you really focus that on the value that you are bringing to the table, right? You will always be average. And for this to happen, you need to switch your personality, meaning that you have to keep updating your personality, because as you evolve in life, you get exposed. Many of you will now, by attending this class, and that's my objective and my hope, is that I will be able to trigger some fundamental and deep question in you. And that will mean your attitude will change. Your mindset level, the way you carry yourself is different, right? You know, I learned Surah to Teen when I was maybe 7 years old, 6 or 7 years old. I could recite it. I didn't understand what I was talking about. Then later on, when I was a teenager, I know the explanation, but as I started reading this with some philosophical eyes, right? I'm like, wait a minute. How deep is this, right? You realize that you are not somebody, you are different. Therefore, the way you carry yourself is totally different, okay? So here, basically, what is required from you is to start the shift from your leadership 1.0 to your leadership 2.0, meaning that instead of trying to do the compromising that we are familiar with, that is fine-tuning. Now I will move from fine-tuning to surgery. Instead of being superficial, now I'm going to look at the root cause of a problem. Aspiring, I will change my life. Money is not my objective anymore. The human value is what's important. Going from job to a job, I will change my personality, right? Behavior to do well, I will change my attitude and mindset level, right? Small step, baby step, no, big ideas. Why? Because I understand my self-concept, okay? So in the interest of the time that we have, okay, because this program is supposed to be just to give you an overview of what, you know, this leadership program is all about, okay? So let's now jump into the tools as I promised, okay? Called the Leadership Diamond methodology, okay? And for those of you who would like to really go deeper, inshallah, we will coordinate that and send you the link so that we can go at length with immersion and good interactive exercise and all of that, okay? So basically, somebody raise hand. Yes, go ahead, please. Go ahead. Hello? Somebody has raised hand. Yes, go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I speak now?
Yes, please.
Go ahead, please. Please unmute your microphone, please.
Oh, there's an echo. I have a hard time hearing you. Can you say it again? Hello?
Hello, doctor. I can hear you.
Yes, go ahead. Say it again.
أحلام ممكن تشيل المايك؟
like, you know, I have,
Maybe Ahlam is not here, maybe.
okay.
Okay.
Okay, so, and or you can write your question, okay, if needed, okay? So let me introduce the concept of leadership diamond, okay? So the leadership diamond is a set of tool and methodology, okay? What do I mean by that? Okay, I have some comment. I think you know, if can you Salma, can you interactively monitor the chat for me, please? Okay, if you can translate as the chat are coming in, so that nobody.
Okay.
Yeah, feel like he or she has not been considered, okay? Because, you know, the fact that everybody or all of you made the time to attend this class, it's very important for me. I want everybody to go home feeling that they have been well taken care of, okay? So if you can translate all those texts so that I can address them as we move forward, okay? So, the leadership diamond is a set of tools and methodology, okay? You know, and these tools are here to help you refine your individual character and develop your individual excellence, as I told you. So far, you know, what we have been looking at, you know, what are hindering us from becoming excellent, okay? So, you know, the founder of the Leadership Diamond is Professor Peter Kastenbaum. You can Google him, and he's my mentor and my teacher, actually. And part of the reason why I studied under him for 20 years was because, you know, I went to him with my authentic self, and he allowed me and helped me definitely first reconcile with myself, right? And then now focus on narrowing in developing the leadership concept just to help people get to the better version of themselves, okay? So he, as you know, you can Google Peter Kastenbaum, and there's a lot with him. Now, to start, one thing to acknowledge is that if you look at our being, the beginning, when do we know that the baby is about to come? Is when the woman is pregnant. We know that there's a baby when, you know, with this first consultation where they will hear boom, 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 boom. And what comes first is the heart, right? Which is the emotional brain of us as a human being, right? So let's go back to the roots. So what happened is that we have shifted everything to our intellect. How about the feeling, right? So here, it is important for us to acknowledge the fact that our emotional brain carry a lot of attributes that are difficult to measure and deal with, right? Therefore, you know, you will see that all the science that talk about leadership will talk about, you know, there will be, you know, at one point you will hear servant leadership, principle center leadership, etc., etc. But every time it keeps changing, right? So here, when you say leadership, the approach should be centered on what are the fundamentals and the foundation, okay? So now, the leadership diamond approach is basically, hold on, give me 1 second here. So basically, if you understand, if you want to dive into the leadership diamond, first of all, we will start by reconciling yourself with you, reconciling you with yourself. And one is to understand the world as a system. We call this the ontograph or map of being. And then the leadership diamond tools help you diagnose your situation. That's I sent you the mapping of your life exercise, and then define the human condition accurately, meaning that you need to understand when you are dealing with the human, you need to be very clear on the definition that you give to the human condition, okay? Now, there are few assumptions, okay? Every human being have the potential to be a great leader, okay? And the leadership diamond gives them the ingredient to excel at their leadership potential, okay? This is our claim. Okay, whenever you hear about the leadership diamond, what should come in your mind? First of all, this is how it looks, okay? It's composed of two elements. One element is your leadership capacity, or the outer diamond. It is composed of 4 elements. And we will go into those 4 elements in detail, okay? The second is what we call the inner diamond, or leadership readiness, okay? And this is also composed of 4 elements, and we will go into those 4 elements in detail. Now, in reality, what this means, it means that your mind become a two-way lenses, a lenses through which you see the world, but at the same time, the world sees you, right? Now, we are going to talk about this in practice, right? So basically, while you are observing the world, right, the system, anything that is not you, could be your husband, could be your parent, could be your boss, could be your subordinate, could be your children, or could be your friends, while you are observing them, but they are also observing you, all right? Now you will see the complexity of being a good leader, complexity of overcoming anxiety and all of that, okay? So what does it mean? It means that you as a leader will have to take some decision. 2 elements. First one is you need to know, and you must know, what you are talking about. And you have to have, you should have the right attitude that carries that. You know, remember we talked about some of the attributes of leadership. Self-confidence. You should be able to demonstrate that you have a level and a sense of self-confidence, okay? If I'm a leader in a soccer teams, right? Then I have to show that I'm a captain and I'm able to carry that. If I'm a CEO of a company, definitely I get paid to design the future of this company, right? I get paid because I'm the embodiment of the vision of this company, okay? So, therefore, one aspect of leadership is connected to me and my personality. And one aspect is connected to what I know, right? So the leadership, my leadership take place in seizing the interface, the edge, the intersection where the space outside meet the space inside. You know, these are two vector diagrams, and the value, for those of you who have studied physics like me, you know that these two vectors will be pulling to their own direction. And this is what gives you the leadership. So it's your leadership become now the feeling, empowerment, sensation of embodiment, basically what we call the active body mind, right? So everything about you is about, you know, is meeting the purpose, meeting what is greater than you. Because as a leader, you are condemned to have a vision. And we touch a little bit about what vision means. I'm not talking about being able to see. That's eyesight. Vision means mind sight, being able to see with your mind, right? So once you get to that level, now you know, because you have the know-how, the competence, and the right attitude, then you know how much control is needed to put in place. Meaning that, let's say if you are a military leader, right? There has to be rules. But when the soldier is on the field, you know, the terrain is different, right? So you have to allow room for the soldier to be creative, innovative, to be tactical, to be strategic, because they are on the field. Understanding the map is one thing, and understanding the terrain is different, right? So, therefore, you have to shift from the know-how, because you will see a lot of people will hide behind the information. Know-how is information, basically. People will hide behind those information as an excuse not to take the tough decision. Doing that means will consume a lot of energy. It needs a lot of effort. It needs challenging the status quo. It needs sometimes violating the authorities, right? Etc., etc., etc. Okay? So, but that's how the leader get the result. Now, as a leader, you have people that are following you, right? You need to understand rule number one: no more judging or blaming people. Because as a leader, you always seek to understand, right? And we will see that later when we talk about the inner diamond or leadership readiness. You make the decision to be accountable. You take the decision to be accountable. Why? Because one of the elements in the leadership readiness is going deeper. Going deeper is that you freely choose to ask the same question over and over and over and over again. Why? Because you want to be accountable for the result. So you have to understand the distribution of the workforce that you have, right? On one hand, you have people, you will be dealing with people that are competent and able. They know how to do the job. They are technically savvy and competent. On the other hand, you have people who are authentic and willingness, okay? Now, if you start distributing, because it's impossible to have people that are 100% competent and 100% authentic and motivated. So if you start looking for one reason or another, you will have people who are highly competent. They are brilliant individuals, but they are very low in terms of authenticity, ego, thief, liar, or what have you, right? I'm not saying that you will be blaming, oh, this is a liar, this is a crook, or what have you. No, 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 no. That's a distraction. When you start blaming people, you start condemning people, it's a distraction for you, right? What do I mean by distraction? Because you have a focus, you have a vision, you know where you are going, you have a target, right? So you want to avoid all kinds of distractions. So they are people who are not authentic. Why? Just take a look around you. Before you exist, there were people who were lying, cheating, stealing, killing. And within your time, you can also see there are people with that same characteristic. And long after you are gone, there will always be people like that, right? So here is something that is outside you, etc. So it is not your job. So basically, your job is to look within your area of responsibility as a leader, within the environment that you are accountable, is that they have competence. Do I need their competence? Yes. If they are not authentic, for now, I will focus on getting their competence. We call them one more chance, but I will keep my eyes on them, because the first mistake that they do, salamu alaikum, goodbye, right? Okay. Why? Because they are competent, but they are not authentic. And me, I get paid. My position is for the long term of this, the long term and the future of this organization. Okay. The second quadrant is what we call hiring mistake. There are people who are not competent, but they are also not authentic. You like it or not, you call Microsoft, Boeing, Facebook, Tesla, or what have you, every single organization will have people that always manage to get by. They are not competent and they are not authentic. So basically, your job is to try to lower the percentage of that individual. Then the next quadrant, the third quadrant, is you have people who are not competent enough, but who are authentic and willingness. So these are the people that are on tutor, but eager to learn because they have a strong will. So your job is to train them, educate them, mentor them, and get them to this level, the best. Attract them, hire them, and retain them. Because if you do not have a human resource policy, guess what? You will be left with the people that you do not want, okay, as a leader, okay? The first concern of the central concern of you as a leader is how do you get the right people? within your team. Okay, so now let's look at the leadership capacity. Okay, leadership capacity or outer diamond is composed of 4 elements. First element is courage. What does it mean to be a courageous leader in the leadership diamond term? It means what? It means speaking the truth. Okay? It means what? It means also identifying the warrior in all of us, the fighter in me, right? You know, the market savvy in me, the motivated individual, meaning that I will make the choice to choose the attitude of initiative, right? And I will be determined to manage my fear and risking my life also, right? Meaning that I will be a self-starter. Why? Because as a leader to me, my concern and my focus is on doing the right thing. Now, because we are in the domain of leadership, right? But doing the right thing doesn't mean you go and start being rigid. That's not what I mean. Even in our tradition, right? If you look at our Islamic tradition, we are talking about ilman wa hikmah. If you look at all the stories of our great scholar or successful business people, even starting with our prophet, alayhi salatu wasalam, right? Because I'm leading people, I have to acknowledge that people are at different level of their life, right? You know, once I was talking about the courage, and a brother shared with me this story, saying that a man came to Imam Ibn Taymiyyah and says, well, you know what? I want to accept Islam, but I can pray only 3 times a day. And Imam Ibn Taymiyyah said, go ahead, please, right? And his companion turned around and said, how come you authorize him to? He said, well, you know, have you seen the guy? Yeah. So this is the guy, if you make it complicated on him, he will disappear. But the fact that you give him 3 times a day, he will be closer. And now you do the rest, right? And we even know in the time of Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq, a guy was a guide that was hired by the Muslim. You know, this guy was so powerful that he used to raid caravan alone. I don't recall his name. And he was observing and analyzing. He came to Sayyidina Abu Bakr and say, you are different. Teach me how to be like you. And Sayyidina Abu Bakr looked at the guy and said, well, you know what? You remember that your hands have 5 fingers? Yes. And he said, can you remember this? Can you remember this? And he gave him only 5 conditions, right? And that's it. So basically here, when we are talking about initiative, courage, it means that having the courage of doing what is right at the appropriate moment, not the courage of going and challenging people and being arrogant or what have you, right? We are talking about courage with sense, right? Because again, you have focus. So basically, when you decide to put yourself as a courageous person, there are questions. You start with questions. What will success require from me? Knowing that success is different from one person to another. What do you need to do what you have been avoiding? Courage means stop avoiding things that you know you should do. What do you need to say that you have been, to say what you have been avoiding to say, right? What are you afraid of, right? Facing their fear, being anxious, being afraid are part of human being. As a human being, when I'm scared, it's quite normal. Okay, so basically, our life, and we will talk about this later when we talk about the inner diamond. The fourth element of the inner diamond is called managing polarity. Okay, so when we address the inner diamond, all right, when we talk about the inner diamond, we will talk about managing polarity, what it means. So basically here, being courageous means what? What is changing in business today? If you are in business, if you are in non-profit organization, etc., what is changing in the world, in my industry, in our company, on my team, in my life, and what act of courage will life ask of me in the coming years, right? How am I likely to respond? How do I think I should respond? Okay, I think there will be a little bit of disappointment here, right? Maybe you came here for me to give you an answer, but I'm leaving you here with a lot of questions. Because here, your leadership, your personal leadership development is what is at stake. I want you to be the best thing that ever existed. Reconcile with the root, with your own root, because we've saw it in our own fundamentals. You are the best thing that was ever created. I'm not making this up, and I'm not flattering you, right? Let me give an example. My daughter, once she was supposed to give an opening session in one of the programs that my team and I initiate here in France, where it is a leadership development program for teenagers. And what we will do in this program is we give them project, community development project, and we give them the tools. And they were exposing this in front of over 200 people. And back then, my daughter had been part of this program when they were high school students and all of that. So we wanted to present their success, and they were at the star, basically. Many of them was the first time for them to speak in front of an audience of 200 people and more, right? So for 4 days, she will be here at the office with me, preparing for her for her speech. And my way is that I push you in the water and say, okay, now, first of all, abandon ship, abandon yourself. Trust me, you will not drown, right? You will float. And now you learn. So she doesn't like my methodology, but anyway. And every time I start, she will go in her defense mechanism. Remember, I'm her dad also, right? So finally, the D-Day, it was in the evening. She came to me and said, Daddy, stop now. Take care of me. I said, okay, if you are ready. So she said, this is what I presented. I took everything she presented for her speech, fold it, and throw it in the garbage. And I said, okay, what are you afraid of? Let's work on your fear. Daddy, I said, no. Please, trust me for now, okay? Let's work on your fears. And well, I said, you see, if you take away the fear, you will be going out there and trying to read from a paper, and there will be no connection with your audience. That's not the purpose, and that's not the objective of this program. During the program, you were active and all of that. I want you to be the same. Now, you're afraid maybe people will judge you or what have you. I said, look, if somebody judge you, go like this and take one hair out of your head, hand it over to them and say, please, the day you will be able to create a hair like this, then I will listen to you. She went, oh, wow, Daddy, thank you, right? And she went and exchanged and gave her speech. And guess what? The side benefit for me as a dad was that my youngest son was one of the guinea pigs in that program. Basically, we will take students from middle school, those who just integrate high school, and teach them how to code, how to use IT intelligently. Because many parents, including me, you see your children always on their smartphone and all of that. I'm like, wow, I don't want them to be addicted. So since I cannot fight that, take it away, force them, let's be smart. So I made them have an intelligent use. And guess what? My son today, he's at the university. He has become a geek. He just finished high school. And now, in his first year university, his level in coding is the third year's bachelor degree level in computer science, right? I didn't intend that, right? So her younger brother, who was in 10th grade high school, felt so motivated and inspired that he went on stage and explained as, young man, how this program worked well for him as a testimony, okay? So this is to tell you that courage means, you asking yourself the right question that only you know and only you can address, okay? So I see that we are 10 minutes away from the end of the session, and I would like to dedicate this 10 minutes to address question or remark or detail something that, who want to go first? Any question? Any question? Any question? Yes, please. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, Dr. Saluha. Dr. Saluha, I want to get back to the fixed closed area and open area.
Okay, please.
Okay. Have you ever met with a person with a very, very fixed closed area without any open area?
Fixed closed area.
Yes.
Have I ever met with people with fixed closed area without any open area? Well, I will say yes and no. Yes and no.
If yes, why? What's the reason?
Well, okay. If yes, I will say that, I had a seminar once. I did a women's seminar in Africa, okay? Women leadership seminar in Africa, and it was broadcasted, right? And, some of the young women actually came to send a message and said, we would like to talk to you, to meet with you in one-on-one session. then, I gave my okay. And, I gave them Jaguar University contact and we scheduled a meeting. And when they came to me sharing their stories as female in the family, in sub-Saharan Africa, unfortunately, you have polygamy, where it's not used in the way it should be used. And in the name of Islam or what have you, basically, their situation was really, really, I would say, shocking to me personally, because you have the community and you have the, the parents, and plus, you have the father, and, the only open area that they have, the breathing oxygen was their mother, who was now tired and ill, basically. And this is one of the rare situations where, it touches me to the point where I'm like, subhanallah, I will only pray for you, sisters, okay? So that's one area. Now, I didn't left them like that. And we started working. And guess what? The good news is that, inshallah, now, okay, excuse me, just before we move forward, when I felt like I was limited in bringing a solution to this situation, I went to the Ministry of Employment and Vocational Education of Cameroon, because you see, Jaguar University, we can accept only students that completed high school. And in this case, they did not complete any high school, but they know how to read and write. So it opened a venue for us, and we just received our accreditation with Jaguar Academy, which is a vocational training institute, where now in January, inshallah, we will launch the Women Entrepreneurship Program to really help them be entrepreneur, because now they know. The reason why I say no is because as individual, these young women were very creative, very innovative, very talented. One of them was very good in braiding hair and all of that. One of them was able to learn computer and secretarial work on her own, etc. One of them was very good as a tailor, right? So the no here was that what opportunity, they are conditioned. But as individual, they were talented. Finally, I say no, because, people will beat you up, but they will not take away your talent. Your boss will fire you, but he will never fire your skills and competence.
Dr.
Right?
Saloha,
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we have Ibrahim send a question.
Yes.
I will send you answer it. Okay, Doctor?
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, any other question?
Okay, this is question.
Okay, at time leadership depend on the organization you find yourself. Example, when a leader in military, your habit seems to be rough, unlike a leader in school. So how can we compromise that? Well, I will say, don't try to compromise in anything that you do, really, because our challenge as a leader is often due to the fact that we try to compromise and so on. We are not focused. Or in many cases, we have limited understanding of what is required from us, right? If you are a military, if you are in an army, basically, you know, there are things that the job requires from you. And that is something that you definitely should. You know, basically, you need to ask the question, what will success in this situation require from me? What do I need to do that I have been avoiding? Do I really understand what are the expectations from me? And as you deepen those questions, it makes the whole difference. Now, naturally, you as a leader, you should be aware of the fact that your job will have some impact on you. For example, me as a professor, I have the tendency of over-expanding my explanation. Someone who is accountant will be very short in their answer, okay? 2 more minutes, you know, maybe we can address one last question. Any last question or comment? One last question? No question? Okay. So what I will say is that I will work with Selma to make sure that you guys have thank you very much, Asma. Okay, so you have information for the upcoming. And well, next session, we will talk about the other 3 elements of the leadership capacity. Okay. Thank you very, very much. And so exciting. Okay, yeah, Salma, you are off to close the session.
Yes, Doctor, thank you. Dear student, at the end of the day, thank you for your good listening and interaction about the Global Leadership course. A message for me with love and appreciation and respect and thanks to my professor and doctor who's enlightened us with the science and knowledge. We would like to thank Dr. Mahmoud Salouha for being with us today. Thank you, doctor, and thank you all. السادة الحضور والضيوف الكرام، في نهاية اليوم نشكركم على حسن استماعكم وحضوركم حول دورة القيادة العالمية، ونود أن نشكر الدكتور محمود صلوح على تفاعله معنا اليوم. رسالة مني بالمحبة والتقدير والاحترام والشكر لأستاذي ودكتوري الذي أنار دربنا بالعلم والمعرفة، فشكرا لك ما قدمت وشكرا لك ما تقدم وشكرا لك بألف لغة. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Thank you, Doctor.
Yes, so somebody wanted to raise hand. Abdullah, maybe want to say something before we go?
Someone want to say something?
Yes. You want to say something, Abdullah?
Yes, Doctor, good evening.
Good evening.
We need the link for registration.
Inshallah, I will send you the link because actually we are still debating with my team as for if the program will be physical or online. Me personally, the program will be physical because there's a lot of interaction and also group exercise, okay? So we are still debating. And maybe you guys can help us, you know, in this debate, because, you know, I'm from old school. To me, online teaching is always challenging. I like to interact and really work with people, okay? So you guys, if you guys think presence or online, you can help us decide. And inshallah, it will be either in Egypt or in UAE, okay, or even in Saudi Arabia. Okay, I've been approached by different partners to organize session. Maybe you guys can help. Salma, can you help me coordinate that, please?
Okay, doctor. Inshallah.
Okay, inshallah. Okay. Jazakumullah khairan, and thank you very much, all of you. And inshallah, I see you next week. And if you have any question, please write them down. And I'm also accessible, right? You know, because I gave my commitment to ESU, okay? So really, to me, it's part of my own sadaqat, zakat and sadaqatu jariyah, okay? So with this, I will say salamu alaikum to all of you and see you next week, inshallah.
Alaikum salam, doctor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Right.
Bye.